mixture of things. So DP, short films and corporate videos, and also color grade, so colorist. Um, and yeah, I'll try that again. So, well, I'll just keep going, or do you
Yeah,
want to
we can
stop
just
start? Yeah.
okay. So,
So,
don't mean to start off.
I go for it. Yeah.
So, would you like to introduce yourself for us?
Yeah, so I'm Bran Walsh. I am a lecturer at the Belfast Met E3 Studios. I lecture on the commercial photography and videography course and also on the production film course. As well as lecturing, I also am a freelance cinematographer and colorist and work on corporate and narrative film projects.
So, how did you get into your job pathway?
So I started off in video and primarily in weddings. So I started second shooting for another wedding videographer and photographer, and did that for many years, and then sort of created my own brand and started in on my own wedding photography and videography. And then after doing weddings for a number of years, I started getting into corporate work. So working for small, medium-sized companies, creating promotional content and testimonials, interviews, things like that. Um, and then from there, I've moved into sort of more higher end and narrative projects.
So, you said you were freelance. So, how did you get the clientele since you're freelance?
So it is hard if you're freelance. It is hard to get clientele. At the start, especially for the corporate side of things, I reached out to companies initially to do projects for them in order to build up a bit of a portfolio and a web presence, social presence. So I did some projects for free at the start in order just to have material to promote. Um, and then once I had some things like that, some projects under my belt that I could promote and was happy with, I could again approach companies, almost like cold calling at the start, asking if they needed help with content. And for every project that I did, I upped my price and continually did that. And then it became more of a word of mouth type thing where people were approaching me then because they had heard about work that I've done or they saw the work that I've done, or it was recommended. So a lot of it now would be word of mouth and just through contacts. But at the start, it was, putting in that sort of grunt work and reaching out to people, trying to build up a portfolio. And it does take a bit of work and feels like not a waste of time, but you're not getting a lot of money for the effort and the work that you're putting in. But you sort of need to build that base of work, and companies want to have confidence in your ability, so being able to showcase that, and then it sort of builds from there.
Would say that's probably one of the hardest bits when you first started was trying to get your clientele.
Yeah, yeah, it's super hard, and to be honest, it's continually hard. You're especially if you're freelance, you don't have a set wage. It's all reliant on the work that comes in, and it is up and down. There's peaks and troughs in terms of how much work comes in. Um, so there is that sort of constant thing in the back of your head about, will I have enough work next month or, in a couple of months' time. So there is always that, no matter how established you are, there is always that in the back of your head if you're freelance. Um, but it is at the start it is hard. Now you'll find it's easy to get work for if you're not charging. So it's easy to build up a portfolio, but you need to start making jumps after that. So very quickly, after a few projects, you need to start charging, and then after charging a low amount, you need to start charging more and more and more, and it's making those jumps. Um, and almost every time you make a jump, you're cutting off part of your clientele, potential clientele. So all of the companies that would only hire you hire you if you're doing it for free. They're gone once you start charging, and then once you charge more, you're sort of getting rid of the lower end. Uh, the companies that are only willing to spend a small amount of money. So every time you make that jump, which you need to do, then your sort of client base gets smaller and smaller, but you're charging more and more, and you constantly need to sort of reach out to more different diverse clients in order to keep that going. Yeah.
So, would you say that the time management and management in general of your portfolio and your clientele is important?
Yeah, for sure. When I started, I definitely thought all of my work would be just creating content, either shooting or editing. Um, and it wasn't. A lot of it was, client communication, promotion, keeping up to date with socials and reaching out to people, and also things like training and upskilling and learning. So there's all these other things on top of, the actual content creation, which I didn't fully appreciate until I was doing it, but is vital. I could be the best videographer, cinematographer, or photographer, um, but if nobody knows about it, about me, and or nobody can see what I do, then there's no point in me being good at it.
So we've done sort of the nitty gritty stuff. So what's been your favorite bit about being in the industry?
Favorite bit of industry? Well, I love being creative. I love working with people on diverse projects. Um, you're not going in and just doing the same thing every day, which is great. I love gear, so cameras and lights and all of that. I love sort of testing out new things and learning new things. And I think the best part for me is you're just constantly learning. So no matter what stage you're at, there's always way more to learn, way more to develop and improve with the craft of photography and cinematography. And um, yeah, that's amazing. I love that. That's never not going to be a thing. I'm always going to be learning, and I love that I'm always learning.
You said that you did color grading. How do you get from photography and videography to color grading?
Yeah, so I suppose the color grading side of things came in from the cinematography side. So a big part of cinematography is visualizing the image and understanding how cameras work, how lighting works, and how it all interacts together to get a final product. A big part of that in cinematography and in filmmaking is the color grading workflow, I suppose, right from you know pre-production right through to delivery, and there's the colorist plays a big role in that. So it might be in pre-production developing looks for testing, and then looks for the production, and then doing the actual color grade and delivering that. So I got really into the just that workflow, and then got really into color theory and uh, the impact that color can have on the image, and therefore the impact that the colorist can have on the image. So as a cinematographer, I wanted to have control over that, uh, and then the more control I had over it, the more I appreciated the specific role of the colorist. Um, and yeah, I just learned and developed that and practiced, and yeah, I'm still learning and practicing, and yeah.
This is gonna be the last question. Like us, we're inspiring to be in this industry. So what would be the best way to improve, or what way? Or how could I word this? Well, yeah. How? What is the best thing that we need to learn for being in this industry?
So I think a lot of the technical stuff can be learned very quickly. Um, it's I'll do it again. So a lot of the technical stuff like camera settings and lighting setups and stuff like that, that can all be learned fairly quickly, and you can almost just know that without even having done it. Um, a big part of succeeding, I suppose, in these industries is experience and just being on set, whether that's as a one-man band or as part of a crew, and just getting experience with different setups, creating different images and different products and different content, um, and just having the tools in your tool belt for different situations. So I think a big part of photography and cinematography is just problem solving, um, and the more experience you have, the more you can draw on your experience for problem solving in different scenarios. Um, and the other thing is just understanding that you're always learning, always seeking to learn more and more about the craft, never assuming that you have, you know, nailed it, that you've got there, because you won't have. Nobody has. You're all, you can always learn, you can always improve, you can always develop, and um, Yeah, so just not never assuming that you've sort of made it or you know everything. It's just, I suppose, having a bit of humility about your skills and your ability, and um, yeah, just always looking to develop that.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Sweet. That's
Awesome.
great.
Do you want to pause then stop record or
Pause and stop
Uh,
for the sound.
just
just
say?
stop, I think.
Sure.
If
Oh, well, we